Ms. Fernandez? Mr. Noof? Ms. Politz? Okay, so 3 here, 2 not. We have 4. So we shall begin with the confirmation of Noah Wills for the commissioner elections for this election season. So you can come up here and give a brief report. You can figure that one out.
Sorry.
So you have 5 minutes. I don't know if you need that much, and then we'll do questions. All right? I mean, if it's
Sorry.
okay. So you may start.
Hi guys, I'm Noah Wills. I'm the current JSEP chair. I've been on JSEP since April of this year. Elections were kind of weird last semester, but now that but now that the big changes are over, I just have a few things I'd like to change, and elections commissioner will be kind of best for me just because I was involved in the changeover process last semester. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Okay. Thank you for your report. Enjoy this brevity. Are there any questions for the nominee? Yes.
Were there any major challenges that you saw last year that you feel like you can definitely overcome for this election cycle?
Well, the major challenges were the Senate, not gonna lie, but I think now that we kind of have common ground, it'll be easier, and look forward to working together because other than
Are you aware of the time commitment that it takes? Are you prepared for that? With everything else in your schedule, you know your schedule, you know how much time it's going to take, you're ready to do it?
Absolutely. JSEP was a good stepping stone for this. I think everybody should do that in the future. But yeah.
Valentina?
So last year when Kevin Michael Levy passed the whole bill, you said that you would resign if the bill passed. I'm just curious, or I thought that's what I heard from you at the meeting. So I'm just curious, how would you approach it if something as controversial came up? Like, would you just resign? How do you go about it?
So last year I know we were talking about somebody, a senator, I forget who it was, asked if this passes, will you resign? And I didn't say anything. I was going to resign, but I didn't want to say yes or no. But I don't see that coming up, hopefully. But I think from now on, it was really cool because last semester, Eric, John, Jamie, and I all were together with Kevin for the most part. And so nothing was really enough for me to resign, just because I like doing this local elections policy. If there's somebody who knows American University elections policy more than I do, I don't want to meet that person. So, yeah.
Maybe madam.
Any other questions? Okie doke. So if you just step outside for a couple of minutes while we deliberate, I'll come get you when we have a result. And just shut the door.
Great bow tie, by the way.
Thanks, I haven't worn one in a while. So, are there any comments? Any motions? Mr. Burrow.
I just saw this comment. I'll motion. I motion to approve by unanimous consent. I think Noah can do his job. Noah did a lot last year, took on a lot of responsibilities for JSAP. I didn't have to do things slowly but thoroughly. In my opinion, he's JSAP a mess. But I think that as the new elections commissioner, I really did his job very well.
So,
I second his motion.
okay. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we shall move on to full Senate. We go fun.
I love him.
Yeah, here you go.
I love him.
Noah? Got him. All right, so you can either stay. So you can face the same grueling fortune. So now we will hear a report from Ms. Rosie Black to fill the vacant position of Secretary of the Student Government. Remember that there?
Sorry, you're waiting.
Okay.
Obstacle.
So you have 5 minutes for a report. If you need longer, someone can motion for it, and then we're just going to do a period of questions, all right? Okay, you can start whenever.
Alright, hi everyone, my name is Rosie Block. I'm a junior here. I'm studying public relations, minor in marketing. I'm from Amherst, Massachusetts, and I've got 2 dogs at home. Miss them dearly, but I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me. I'm involved on many clubs and organizations on campus. Right now, I'm in Public Relations Society of America. I'm also in Chi Omega fraternity, and I'm also on the club soccer team for AU, and on that, I'm the e-board for media coordinator, so I just manage the social media. I'm also a student staff assistant, which is a federal work study position at the Academic Sport and Access Center, which is right over there, and I manage their social media accounts too, so I have a lot of experience with social media and marketing and such like that. Previously, I did Photo Collective, and I was on the e-board. I was the communications coordinator, so I facilitated and managed a lot of photographers and for the whole club. And this past summer, I was an orientation leader in school, which was a great experience. So I have a lot of connections for the school and in the school, so that was a really great opportunity for me. The reason I'm applying for student government secretary is mostly because I wanted a larger role on campus, and I thought that student government was the best way to do that. I understand that the access to students can be tricky, and this is one of the reasons why I've not done student government in the past, because to be honest, I was very intimidated, and I'd never done student government before, so that's why I just didn't really get to it in the past. But I'm excited because I believe that student government is for anyone and everyone, and I think that this is really the place to make change and make the difference on campus. So after, of course, meeting the e-board and more SG members, I feel a little bit more confident just to take on this large role and to kind of provide that connection between students, but also between the campus in general. So I believe I'm qualified for this position, mostly because I'm a hard worker, I'm very organized, and I really care about this community, and I want to see it thrive. And I think student government is the best way for that to work. And I have a lot of experience in communications, as I said earlier. So thank you for having me.
Okay. So now we'll move into a
Liz, do you want to show the your work now?
Oh, sure.
I sent you an email.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I literally just sent it.
So Shannon just put this together. It's like a communications portfolio. So some of my work, if you want to see some of it. If you don't see all of it, I have a website if you want to check it out. But this is my photography website. I was a photographer in high school, still a photographer. I did a lot of commission work. So these are just some examples. So those are my fellow OL. This is on the website. This is like the nature section. I really love taking photos, as you can tell. So right here is my personal Instagram, which I've been working really hard at to make it like aesthetically pleasing, but also to build up followers. And then on the left right there, that's the Academic Sport and Access Center Instagram that I've been working really hard with other students and stuff. On the left is my personal Twitter, which is just a good example of some of my personal communication, but on the right is a sample of the Academic Sport and Access Center Twitter, and I started a new campaign called Meet the Staff, where I kind of just interview staff and kind of make it more accessible for students so they're not as scared to go. And that's just my LinkedIn. You're welcome to connect with me if you want. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, are there any questions? Which needs to be there, actually. Chris.
Okay. So, first of all, if you were, like, hypothetically, let's rewind time. If you decided to run for this position, what's the platform on which you would run?
I definitely think, are you talking about freshman or sophomore year?
I'm talking about, like,
This election
spring election
This past
for the
election.
secretary position. Yeah, like, what would you, like, run on, like, what would you want to change, all that stuff?
Yeah, I definitely think the first 2 years I was very intimidated by student government, so my platform that I would run on is to be accessible to students and to really open that connection and that bridge to build more connections so that people feel comfortable to come to meetings and to come to activities and stuff like that. So that's mostly the platform I run on. Again, I'm very new, so I understand that I don't have much experience, but I'm very willing to learn, and I'm very willing to learn from the people here and from people that have already been in SG. But for elections, I know those are really insane, but I would definitely run on the fact that the mental health facilities on campus are not open to everyone, and they can be expensive, and they sometimes fill up, so I talk about mental health. And I'd also talk about clubs and organizations just being open to everyone. So a lot of access. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my second question was, so you're doing a lot on campus, which is great, but how much
Say
time?
that again?
Yeah, sorry, you're doing a lot on campus, which
Yeah.
is like fantastic, but how much time do you plan on devoting to this position? Because
Mhm.
doing a lot is kind of hard with also like this very time-consuming position, especially in the position. If that makes sense. Into which
No,
you're
yeah.
running, I'm sure, like it's going to be a lot for so sure. Like how much time do you plan on devoting to that?
Yeah, I understand that perfectly. I was a little worried about that too, but the way that I move my schedule is that I have Tuesday and Friday completely off. So that's what I'm going to dedicate 100% for. I'm just going to go through just because it's easier. But for Public Society of America, Public Relations Society of America, that's one meeting. It's very easy. It's like 30 minutes, and it's on Wednesday night, so it shouldn't conflict with anything. For my sorority, Chi Mega, I love it dearly, very good support, but I'm actually a recruitment counselor this upcoming spring, so I will be disassociating from my sorority. So that just means that I'm not going to be like immediately connected to it, and that is once a week meeting. So that's the biggest thing that I was worried about, of course, too. My federal work study, I work about 8 or 9 hours a week, and that's already set up so that it's on Monday and Thursdays, and those are my class schedules, so I scheduled it very, very compact so that I have the mornings, but I also have the nights open on Mondays and Thursdays. And then the last one, which is like in general club soccer, that's just practices, and those are about an hour or two a week, and then games on the weekends. But I've also learned how to say no to many things, so in this position, I know that it's a lot of commitment, but it's also a lot of knowing what you can achieve and what you can't achieve, and I believe that like I can say no to things, but I really can't do things. So, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions? I think Lex, your hand was up first.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that you have to do as secretary is work with a large team.
Yeah.
Do you have experience working and overseeing a team of 12 of your own, plus other people from different cabinets, as well as APU and sub? What do you see the major challenges being in that, and how do you expect to overcome it?
I can speak solely to my cabinet because I know that I am new, so I hope to work with my cabinet and use their previous experience to kind of build up mine. And I have worked as a camp counselor, I've worked as an orientation leader. I'm very good with groups, and I know how to direct people, and I know how to facilitate and manage people, which I think is like the #1 priority in this job, because obviously I'm not going to do everything, because that would be impossible, but I think I know when to delegate and when to ask for help, which is the biggest issue that I would see happening. But in terms of other just like sub levels of student government, I think that's just a lot of learning and a lot of asking questions. So again, I'm new, but I'm willing to like learn those things. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Lex pretty much asked my question, but I guess my question to you would be, do you understand sort of how each department would vary on the communications they need? Like, do you understand like which departments would need to do like press releases? Are there like things for, I don't know, shows coming up? I don't know how to phrase it exactly, if you get
So
what I'm
like the
saying.
different types of media
Yeah.
content for the different organizations?
Yeah.
I have a pretty good idea, obviously I'll learn, but from what I've seen so far, I do understand what kinds of communication goes in which department, and also which ones to really facilitate, and which ones I can kind of like give them leeway. So that's another learning thing that I'll obviously figure out, but so far, in my cabinet as press secretary, I obviously know that he writes press release, like that kind of thing. So that's the question.
Okay.
Okay, no worries.
Chris, any questions as an audience?
Yeah, questions are great. I love questions.
So week 1, starting off.
Week 1, yeah.
Hypothetically, you get it. So what are you gonna do? Like, what's the first thing you're gonna do when entering that like KJS? Like, what are you gonna do?
Like the first thing I'm gonna do?
Yeah, like like when you pop your first office hour, like what's the first stuff on the list?
I definitely think the first thing is to amp up our social media so that people feel like they can be connected to student government and for people to feel relatable. And I don't think that right now, me applying for this position, like I was very scared, I was very nervous because of that intimidation factor, and that's the biggest thing that I want to completely change. So that would probably be the first thing. Other than that, I want to meet as many people on my cabinet and other departments. Yes, no, that's great, it's great. So I want to meet as many people as I can, because again, I'm willing to learn. It takes time to learn, obviously.
Flex.
So you mentioned a lot about your experience in social media, that's something you want to focus on. I also noticed through your samples that photography was one of your big things. Besides photography and social media, what do you think this job entails? What do you think being secretary at USG entails?
Like my personal.
What do you think that besides those two aspects?
Yeah, definitely.
What else is it?
I definitely get the like social media content and marketing kind of stuff, but I think it also entails that bridge, that gap between students and the university, which is something I'm willing to take a leap across, even though, again, I don't have experience, but I think that's what this job entails, is really having people understand where you are and meeting them in the middle, and really trying to facilitate dialogue so that people don't feel uncomfortable and people don't feel like they can't reach out to any of us. So I definitely think that communication, internally, externally, but also just like within cabinets or within departments. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Just one last one, I'm
No,
sorry.
fine.
Just as far as skills goes, are you familiar with building media lists, writing press releases, a lot of just like tangible skills besides social media and photography?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't put this anywhere, but I was a marketing intern last summer at Cambridge High Galleria, which is a small mall at Cambridge. I did a lot of content there, so I did a lot of work with the communications department, but also just within the department of marketing. So I have a lot of experience with communications as a whole, not just like my major, which is public relations, or my minor, which is marketing. So also willing to learn.
Flex.
I have two more questions, sorry. Do you have any personal relationships with any of the executives? And was Dominic Green in your interview?
No, Dominic Green was not in my interview. I was an orientation leader with Shannon, and I knew Devontae from freshman year. I met him once or twice. But that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have another one?
Was that?
That was the
Mine.
yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to make
No,
that
it's
for
okay.
you.
I just met Dan.
Okay. Chris.
I just wanted to ask from like a communications perspective, already running the communications in the organization. Are there any like specific things that you notice about the message that we're trying to put out that you would like specifically aim to fix? Like you mentioned social media, like kind of trying to make us more accessible.
Yeah.
But like what kind of, we've been trying to do that for a while, so like what specific, a lot of people run on that, but like what specifically would you say that you want to accomplish in that regard?
Right, I understand that. And I think the image of student government is a lot of infographics, and I'm going to try to make that more people. And I want people to feel connected to student government through being like, okay, I've seen that person walking around. Oh, they're in student government. That's so cool. Rather than looking at an infographic or looking at like content that isn't relatable to people. Because this is a people organization. We're trying to change people on campus. So the example that I would use is like the Wilt walks or like Sasha's like videos for weekly. So something more like that, where you kind of see the background of student government, not just like what you show up front. If that makes sense. So for example, for meetings like this, I'd love to just take a picture, just be like, hey, this is what we're working on. Come by in 10 minutes, something like that. So it's more personal rather than kind of a surface level student government. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions? None. Okay. So, same with Noah. Just step outside, we'll deliberate, and I'll come get you.
Okay, perfect.
So, could you just shut the door?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Moved into a period of debate. Either of Chris's, is this
So I
like?
actually have a question. Sorry, I was like not sure this isn't like a question. Really, that kind of like I wanted to do like right after that.
Okay, is it posed to me or?
No, it's actually I wanted to listen to the e-board.
Oh, okay.
So so I just wanted to know this is to at the e-board. So I just want to know why gestures was.
Yeah. So I think part of the reasoning to choosing Rosie, besides the fact that she's very well qualified for the position through her experience and through all the involvement she's had on campus, is that she's shown that she can bring a fresh perspective to this organization. I think that moving forward, we need to be working on revamping our image. And a lot of what she talked about was making student government more accessible, more personal. And I think as an OL, as someone who's very involved in Greek life, as someone who's involved in different organizations on campus, she knows how to communicate our message to those specific groups. And so I think, besides the fact that she's very well qualified, she brings a perspective that I think we've been missing for a long time.
So I just wanted to know the line.
I did not vote for her to be appointed secretary.
Oh, okay. Shannon, sorry.
Yeah, so to me, Rosie, just going off of what Devontae said, I also want to talk about like the skills that she's had in the position. I think that Rosie has gone above and beyond in like the things that she's done in regards to PR, especially like she's in the Public Relations Society. She also has done like so much with, she was like the organizer for all the photo collective. To me, the secretary position, I've like been thinking a lot about it recently because I think that it's a big job that not just one person can do. And so I want to see someone that kind of has an idea of how like social media works and like how different things work in regards to like photography. Like she's a photographer and she can like help someone, like she has the image and she can have someone do that, if that makes any sense. Same thing with social media, same thing with video. She's very talented in all of those aspects. So like I'm just like looking forward to seeing her use her skills to be like a director, if that makes any sense, of like all of the people that are working with her in the cabinet.
I think, sorry, just to go off of that, she also proves to us that she understands that it's more of a big picture composition and not necessarily her doing every single aspect of the job. Like she's not going to sit down taking pictures, working on graphics, things like that. But she does have the skills in those areas to understand what the vision for those specific tasks need to be and how to provide direction for the people in her cabinet doing those jobs.
Now, Josh, we
Oh.
introduced you before.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
so
help
now
you.
you're-
I think she has the ability to look like very long term, which is good. I think that the secretary's role, along with a lot of the executives, is more of like a long term kind of management, as opposed to a more hands-on thing, which is just exactly what Devontae just said. And I think that like it's important to know how to do the things and to have the skills, which she does. But she's also going to be very good, I think, at looking long term and planning stuff that will like change the way the world functions in the future.
What's your question?
I don't know the question, I don't have a comment. I mean, I just don't think, I can't pass her knowing that she's not qualified for this position. She has photography skills, that's great. She has management skills, that's great. She's never managed a team, she doesn't know what AUSG Citizen Commission is, she couldn't even tell me what the job entailed. And I mean, I don't see her doing the job. She's gonna take a month and a half to get trained. It's already, September 4th. By the time she's trained, it'll be close to Christmas and their term will almost be over. That's not fair to our organization, that's not fair to the e-board themselves. Their other option was Chris. He's been doing the job. And I think he's doing a pretty awesome job. I think that he's, getting the short end of the stick here. And I don't think that by putting someone who we may think has a new perspective in is the right answer for this organization right now.
Valentina?
I definitely agree to an extent to what Lex is saying. Like, I think we're so far in that it's almost like we need to have someone that's ready to hit the ground running just because so much has already happened. At the same time, we're always talking about how we always have the same type of people in SG and we never branch out and things like that. I think secretary is the perfect opportunity to have someone new in SG because it's such a skills-based position that it doesn't really matter what their prior experience in student government has been. So that's the way I'm looking at it right now. Honestly, so much is changing that whoever does get in the job, they're going to have to be constantly adapting as well. And I think having someone who hasn't been in student government before, who doesn't know maybe all of the drama, who doesn't know so many BS stories that are not needed to get things done, I think that might be helpful. But I'm open to any other ideas as well.
I'll get you in, Chris.
I'd say the fact that she has made it very clear that delegation is a priority of hers shows that she knows that the people in her cabinet do have this previous experience. She's not coming in saying, look, I know everything that's going on. I know, sort of all the history of things, but she has people in her cabinet who can meet her where she's at, so that way she can work on providing the big long-term vision, and they can do the more specific nitty-gritty stuff. And she has actually had experience managing a team. She was one of the leaders in Photo Collective, where she managed their Photo Collective team and delegated responsibilities to those photographers. So I think the fact that she's new balances out with her cabinet not being new. And I think that they'll be able to meet her where she's at to help her provide that big picture for the position.
Chris?
So am I allowed to direct a question? Is that what you're?
You are allowed to direct a question to me and they can respond.
Okay. So, Senator, am I allowed to say the person's name?
Yes,
Okay, so Senator Arnell mentioned something about Dominic being interviewed, and she was wanting to know, was he supposed to be in the interview? Does he have to be in the
I can, I organize all the interviews.
Yeah,
Would you
sorry,
like talking about that? Yeah.
Okay.
So, they sent us
I'm concerned, does he want to know why I asked the question, or
No,
does
I
he want
wanna
to know
know-
why she wasn't in it?
I want to know if he was supposed to be in it and why he was not if he was.
Yeah, so Dominic said he could be in the interviews if he like had the time or if he wanted to.
Okay.
We were coordinating 6 different people's schedules in 1 week, which is the first week of classes to get this done. So I just had everyone send me their schedules, went through it, emailed Dominic with all the times. He didn't attend any of the secretary interviews because he wasn't available during those times. And it's just hard because it's like, for example, we were supposed to have one interview late at night, and like Dominic's not going to stay until 8 p.m.
So it wasn't necessary.
It wouldn't.
Okay.
We informed him of our decision. We informed him of all the interviews that were happening. He could have been there if he wanted to stay.
So I actually have another question. I would like to know why the VP did not choose this slot.
Okay, so. You like to
Can I respond?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I agree with pretty much everything Lex said. I don't think she was the most qualified candidate. I don't think it's time to have someone that can't hit the ground running, and I would have preferred that Chris be our secretary.
Comments? Yeah.
I'm scared. Okay, so I think she's a qualified candidate. If Senate does not confirm her, I just feel like it's gonna add just more roadblocks in the way. Like, we can just confirm her today, and she'll learn, and it'll be hard maybe, but we'll all be in it together. Whereas if we just keep on putting more obstacles, we're slowing everybody down, not just the Secretary's cabinet.
Lex?
We say this all the time when these confirmation hearings come up, is we don't have the time to do it, we don't have the time to do it. This is the time where I think we do have the time to do it. We have someone in the position who's qualified to do it and has been doing it for multiple months now on 2 different administrations. And if there's never been another time to do it, it's now. Because things are still getting done, and we can still ensure that somebody qualified gets in that position. I can't confirm her knowing that she's not the most qualified. The interviews, according to Josh, took place at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. I was made aware that, the one request from the person who resigned was to have Dominic in these interviews, and that was not respected. So, to me, and I kind of have a problem with her having a personal relationship with the executives who, right now are just all buddy-buddies. So, I don't know, I'm concerned, and I don't think that it's fair for our organization.
Fontaine?
Alright, so it's remiss to say that that was not respected when we told Dominic at the time. I spoke with Dominic personally throughout the process, and he said that even if he could not make them, that he would defer to us and respect our decision because he trusted us to make that decision. We told Dominic at the time he could not make them, he's a busy person. So I think it's remiss to say that wasn't respected when we did make that intentional effort to invite him to the interview.
Any other comments?
So I have a quick question. So since the other.
Oh,
Well, yeah. So I just want to make sure everything's like fleshed out. This is a very important position. But so hypothetically, evidently there's training needed. Would Chris have to be trained, or has he been trained already? She's already been trained. Is this true?
Defined training.
Yeah. So would he have to go through the same groups that Rosie Black would have to go through?
What do you mean?
So we've been talking about this training, and I assume that it's all about training when you entered it. Yes. No.
It's like informal, like
You learn as you go.
Okay.
It depends.
Okay.
Like, I got training through student activities for
Okay.
certain things,
Do you want to,
But the secretary is not the one
The
that.
secretary doesn't get trained by anyone.
Okay.
except for like the transition period.
can I direct a question to Chris?
He
No,
was,
Chris.
hang on, he had a comment,
No,
so,
I'll defer.
okay, so you may direct the question.
Okay, so I'm gonna direct.
Yes, that's all.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
find that out.
Do you think that you have learned things through the process of being through 2 administrations that can be taught?
Yes.
Okay. So do you believe that someone who's never even been in this organization and probably doesn't even know our governing documents, do you think that she has to be taught things? And how long do you think that process would take, realistically?
Well, so here's my opinion on this. I think that if somebody who hasn't been in the organization before were to run, for example, in the spring, that person would be in a better situation to succeed and do the job as it's been described in the governing documents and as it's been practiced in recent times, then because of the transition month between the election results and the swearing in on May 1st, and also the summer. So the summer is really important, I think, in terms of getting acquainted to the job, because nothing's happening over the summer but planning really. In terms of secretary, the secretary is actually the only person that really needs to plan stuff over the summer, or execute things over the summer in terms of like Eagle Summit and stuff like that. But still, it's a time to get acquainted to the job. And I think that when I was informed that I would not be the nominee, I immediately responded to the email to the executives that I would stand ready to work with their nominee, because I trusted that they would nominate somebody that could lead the cabinet and that would be able to execute the duties of secretary. But I was also not aware of who they chose. And I think that through this meeting, I still have the attitude that I trust the judgment of the executives, but I do not believe that, I don't believe that this would be the right decision. I'm not saying that this does not come from a place of desire to be the secretary. I have stated on numerous occasions to a countless number of people that I struggled with the decision to even apply, that I'm a sophomore. This is not something that I really prefer to be on my plate, but I just don't think that, with all due respect to Rosie and everything she's accomplished on this campus, I think that there are more qualified people to hit the ground running and execute things throughout this month and throughout the whole semester that need to be executed rapidly. And there's already things in planning stages that are going to be executed next week, and I just don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry.
Okay. Who's name was first? I'm going to say no.
So I think I reject the premise of this line of thought because it ignores the fact that we will be operating as a team, and we're not throwing Rosie out there to do everything by herself. None of us have done anything by ourselves. We've worked as a team this entire time, and we will continue to do so. So I think the whole premise of the fact that like, oh, she doesn't, know already what's going on, like what's in the works for next week, ignores the fact that there are people who will be informing her of these things as the new secretary. Like, there is no reality in which we're going to put someone in this position and the people she's going to be working with are going to be ignoring her and not helping her do her job. Because then that would be on them for not doing their job. And so I reject the premise of that line of thought.
Can I respond quick?
That wasn't directed, you weren't used in name, so
Okay.
I cannot automatically just say you can speak. You can raise your hand and I can call on you. I'm going to start with Shannon and I'll let you know.
I also just like to take some time to talk about fresh perspective. I think that I personally think our comms need to be better. I think they need to be better for the past 4 years, 3 years. I think that there is a lot of things that we just do because we've been doing them the same way for a very, 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 very long time, and I don't think they're effective, just to be straight up. I think that as someone that really enjoys social media and someone that wants to like continue to do that for like my life, the way that we run things isn't very good sometimes, just to be entirely clear. And I think that Rosie is someone that comes in ready to change that. And I also think that a lot of the reason that we do the same things over and over and over again is because of the SG culture that we have, that we only can have people that are within SG in SG. I'm really ready to see that new perspective come in. I'm really ready to see us open up to all students, not just students that joined their freshman year. I know that's kind of hypocritical of me to say because I joined my freshman year, but at the same time, yeah, with Dante, at the same time, I'm always someone, I don't know, I've always been someone this entire time. I consistently always confirm people that want to be in Senate, even if they didn't seem like they're entirely qualified, because to me, that's not in regards to Rosie, but I just want to see people get involved, and I think that Rosie is incredibly qualified. I think that Rosie has a vision, and I'm really excited to see that happen. So honestly, what upsets, like, I think we need that fresh perspective, and I think that we need to run comms in a different way than we have within the last 2 cycles.
Okay, you still,
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna comment on multiple things. I mean, the fact that you claim you've been working as a team, a member of your team left, was asked to resign and is now gone. That is not working as a team, 1. 2, that team cannot be bridged with a friend of one of the executives. I don't believe that that is the best perspective either. 3, a fresh perspective is not always the best when it's going to crumble our organization. Someone who doesn't know, who is going to offer that fresh perspective in a time that is not, this is not the time for that. This is not the time to let our organization fall. This is the time to have our organization come back together. And I don't think that Rosie has the ability to do that. I don't think that, I mean, I can't stress enough, I just don't think she's a qualified candidate. I don't think that, this is not to get on the other issues that we have here to discuss. It's to look at her and say, I don't think that she couldn't even tell Chris a platform that she would run on if she was the secretary. Those are all things that we have to realize, that between training and her perspective and what she thinks is qualified and her other obligations, those are all things we have to think about. And these are all things that we have thought about in confirming other people. That this is an executive who's being paid a lot of money, a lot of student money. All of them get paid a lot of student money. And that is a huge, huge thing to put into someone's hands.
okay. So, a lot of hands went up. So, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just gonna go in order.
I like that.
Okay, you take that. So I'm gonna go Val, Josh, Shannon, and Sam, and if anyone else has any comments after that, I'll take them down. Let's start with Val.
Yeah, so I think everyone in this room is pretty set in stone on what they think and how they're gonna vote. I just think, as far as just CRP goes, I would really hate to say no during CRP. She deserves to go to full Senate. Is it fair that 3 people are either gonna, turn down this person? So I just think we should move on, honestly. If anyone has any pressing comments, feel free to bring them up during full Senate. If anyone wants to make that motion, I'm all here.
Shannon, you still have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak on my personal relationship with Rosie, I guess, because that seems to be a question. I guess we personally knew every single one of the candidates that we interviewed. It wasn't like a thing where we were like, haha, let's only pick someone that I'm friends with. It was literally just this campus is small. I hate to break it to you all, but I happen to know a lot of people. So that's really just it. I'm friends with Rosie. We worked together this summer. I met her this summer. I haven't been she's not my roommate. I haven't been friends with her for whatever. I put Amanda. She was my roommate last semester. She passed. Whatever. I don't know. It's fine. It's not a personal relationship.
Miss Amanda.
Can I just add on one thing?
Sam, do you have a comment still, or just? Okay, so can you wait a second?
It's fine.
You sure? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't have nothing to say.
I'm trying to be good at the rules thing.
Is Josh before me?
No, Josh said he was done. You're going to speak.
I just wanted to say that as the executive whose cabinet arguably relies on the secretary's cabinet the most, I do not feel comfortable directing the directors of my organizations, KP, sub, what have you, to Rosie to do the communications for her work.
Still comment?
I'll just add on to what Shannon said really quick. The whole friendship thing. I know for me, Devontae is one of my best friends, and I've had multiple interviews with Devontae, and it has been completely our personal lives are just completely shut down during our interviews, and it's completely professional. And I have no hesitations that was the same case during the secretary interviews.
Okay. Chris.
I want to agree with Valentina. I think they should go to full Senate. I'm just full of emotion right now, but I agree with Valentina that I don't think 3 people should make this decision.
Okay. Are there any other points? Seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move to vote by hand.
Okay. Is there a second?
Oh, that's second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Actually, can I just say that second?
Yes, you can.
Can we vote by roll call? I want to see.
Roll call?
Roll call.
Okay.
I would just like to say something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, you rescind?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Confusing, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you want to.
So I motion to vote by roll call.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So, Lex,
No.
Chris,
yes, but on I'm just saying this now, is that I don't think I'm going to vote yes the next round, just because I believe that she should go to full Senate, but I'm probably voting, I think she deserves more.
That's a yes.
Yes, it is. I just want it
I
stated for
understand.
the room, because like, I know there's been tricky shit in the past, sorry, excuse my language, where people like to be like, let's pass this person through CRP and then stab them in the back, like, I'm just saying is that I believe anyone deserves more than 3 people. That's just not fair.
Agree.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, by a vote of 2 to 1, the nominee will go to full Senate.
Unless I change it.
Okay, I'll go get her. Go.
Just clap.
It's gonna be,
Yes.
Clap.
Come on in. Okay, you can stand wherever you want. All right then. So that is all of the business for the committee. Is there good the order running on the committee? We can. I mean, some people just ignored it in the past. I don't think
I love to be
Chris?
outside.
Okay.
I'm very happy this is an interesting meeting, but I just want to talk about the things. I hope everyone's back on a good semester. I hope CRP is good. I hope full Senate's good. Everything in the future's good. I'm happy that we're next to the bees. I'm not happy we're in this room, but it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you. I just hope that everything will happen this semester for the next election season.
Anything else, Valentina?
I hope we can all continue a high level of respect during full Senate as well.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay. Seeing no objections, go. Okay, so now we will meet in 17 minutes for full Senate.
Right.
Here, yeah. I apologize.